Good afternoon, evening, good morning, everyone. So, whenever you're looking at this video, excuse me for my voice, I'm a bit choking with cough and cold. Um, this video is for various course coordinators or the professor in charges and faculty in charges of academics in order to perform OBE attainment analysis for their courses. So, what I'll do is I have here opened up the new template, OBE new template. I'll try to minimize my video. I'll focus more on the Excel sheet and I'll explain you like the way you need to fill up this data. I'll just minimize this meanwhile. Now, that's the OBE new template that we have, right? Now, this Excel sheet has got 3 sheets in it. One is for the weightages, the other one is for the marks, and the other one is for the analysis. Right, so when you're given this particular sheet, you'll notice that there are a lot of division by zero errors. You can see them everywhere. That's because we haven't filled any marks as of now. Right, so with these 3 sheets, the first sheet that you need to start with is this sheet, the sheet with weightages. So start entering your course code 15CS2007 and then enter the course title, database systems. Right, and the LTP structure is 222. Now 222 has a bit of a strange problem. It takes that as a date, so I would rather tell you to enter it with a bit more of spaces. That's irritating. Just keep it this way. We are good that way. Yeah, just 2 comma 2 comma 2. So that tells us that that's 2 lectures, 2 tutorials and 2 practical hours. Now, it's an instruction here which says include all the weightages in this sheet in percentages. Do not include percentage symbol. So wherever there are weightages here, these are all the percentages. But make sure you're not entering the percentage symbol, just the numbers, but then the percentages. And this column is for the maximum mark. So I'll get into each one of these individually. So we are now talking about the tests. So test 1, which is a measure of CO1, is conducted for a maximum marks of 30 and has got a weightage of 7.5. Test 2, CO2, weightage of 7.5 and maximum marks of 30. Now these can vary depending on which course you're talking about. Some courses will have the test to be 10, 10, 10 each. Some courses might have 5, 5, 5 each. So it completely depends on which course you're talking about. And then the maximum marks. Maximum marks usually is 30 unless and until there is a change in that maximum marks. This is especially for courses like English, where the maximum marks might not be 30, might be different from 30. And it could also be for some of the clubs related courses where the maximum mark is not 30, it is lesser than that or greater than that. The next one is for ALM. So I've gathered all the active learning like LTCs, group discussions, seminars, everything clubbed together. I'm calling it as just under one name, that is ALM. And that is for all the COs. So let's not classify them. So give the total marks, the maximum marks. Now here I've mentioned 25, it could be any number depending on what the maximum marks is, and this is the weightage, 15% weightage, right? This could also vary depending on what your other components are. And then the attendance is quite a fixed component, so 5% weightage and 5 marks. And when it comes to labs, I have put everything together as internal and external for labs. So if your labs have got continuous evaluation and then internal exam 1, internal exam 2 and then internal project, put them all together. You don't have to segregate them separately and give the total percentage here. So if you've got continuous evaluation for 2.5 and then you've got the test for 5, you can put them together and call it as 7.5. And then the total marks again, the total maximum marks. So here I've given it as 20. Depends on what your course maximum marks for the lab internals. I'll repeat this again. The internal is that category which puts all of these continuous evaluations, internal lab exams, either 1 exam or 2 exam, and internal project evaluation. So make sure you club all the weightages and you club all the maximum marks. Same is the case with lab external. Club everything together. If you have exam separately and project evaluation separately, club it together, give a maximum weightage and the maximum marks here. Now for the final test, the sem and exam. Now for CO1, That's 10 marks question. CO2 is a 10 marks question. CO3 is a 10 marks question. CO4 is a 20 marks question. So that adds to a 50 marks in total. That is an example. Again, if your paper is for 60 marks, make sure you write them accordingly. But then these weightages must be calculated and placed here. The system, the Excel sheet doesn't do an automatic calculation. Now here, since my lab external was 15% weightage, I'm left out with 35% weightage to have a total of external 50. So out of that 35, I split them into the ratios of 1:2. So let me put the ratios here. It is 1:1:1:2. What does that mean? That means CO1, CO2, CO3 have got single weightage, and CO4 has got the double weightage. So this is the ratios in which the marks have to be split. So since my total weightage here is 35, I have split them in the ratio of 1:1:1:2. Right? So how do you do that? So 35 times 1 divided by the total. What is the total of this? 5. That gives me 7 marks. Where did I get this 1 from? That is from this ratio. So that's for CO1. And for CO2, how do I get it? Again, 35 times the ratio is 1 divided by the total of the ratios is 5. And same is the case with CO3 also. It is 35 times 1 divided by 5. But CO4 is a little different. CO4 is 35 times 2 because the ratio is 2, double the weightage, divided by 5. The denominator remains the same. So that's how I got 7, 7, 7 and 14. So make sure you're calculating this carefully and placing those values here. I hope you understand these are the weightages and these are the marks allocated for the questions related to CO1, CO2, CO3 and CO4. So out of these many marks is what you get in your marks list. So CO1 question will be evaluated out of 10, CO2 will be evaluated out of 10, CO3 will be evaluated out of 10, CO4 will be evaluated out of 20 as a sample. And then here I've given some fields where it calculates the total internal and total external for you to just check out whether you have entered it right or not. And then once you're done with this sheet, you can then move on to the next sheet. The next sheet is where you need to actually place in the marks of the students. So here I've got the serial numbers and so these are the serial numbers and you can just make sure you increase them automatically. Alright, and this is a column for the student IDs and here are the test 1 marks. So make sure you enter them based on the maximum marks you have indicated here. So you need to enter test 1, test 2, test 3 for 30 marks each. So enter the marks here, say 20, 16, 18, 12, 11, 10, 25, 27, 4, 2, 18, 19 and so on, right? Similarly for test 2, test 3, the ALM marks. Now ALM marks, we mentioned here that it's for a total of 25. So make sure you're putting the marks here for a total of 25. In case if your marks, the total marks are different, you need to update that here. You can't keep this as 25. You need to update this as whatever is your total marks. So make sure your marks are in that range. And lab internal, club all your internal components and put the marks here. Keep in mind this sheet is only for the marks. You're not converting them as per your weightages. But only thing that you need to take care in this sheet is when you put the marks, make sure your marks are within this maximum marks range. So that's for the lab external, NSEM exam, CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, again for the marks, not for the weightages. So once you do all this, can you see that here? Out of 12 students who attempted, 7 have got more than 50%. Now, if a student is absent, you can either leave it blank, the system will take care of that, or you can leave it A, the system will still take care of that. But a student is present and then he scored a 0, make sure you enter a 0. Hope you understand the difference. When a student is absent, either mark A or leave it empty. If a student is present but then scored a 0, that's when you enter a 0, right? So once you do that, please make sure you enter all the marks. And in case if you need more rows here, then what do? Let's assume you need a few more rows, say 5 more rows. So start from here, select 5 rows and simply say insert, right? And start entering the values. Now this sheet has absolutely no problem in terms of the weightages. So all that you would enter here is the marks. So whenever you need more and more places, make sure you select some of them and you insert, right? More and more you insert, the system will take care of everything. It will know like how many people are there, how many have scored 50 and all that. So once this sheet is over, the next sheet automatically pulls up the data and gives you the result. All right. So what I'll do now is I'll quickly show you a sample. I'll populate some of the marks and then I'll show you what the analysis is looking like. So give me 1 minute. I'll just populate the entire data and then I'll show you a sample. Right, I've got some sample data populated. So there are 18 students in this course, out of which CO1 has got an attainment of 44.4, CO2 for test 2 has got 27.8, CO3 for test 3 66.7. All COs ALMs have got 50, lab internals is 72.2, lab externals 77.8, and these are all the external exams. And then you can see the analysis here. I could see that CO3 is attained and CO5 is attained, but CO1, CO2, CO4 are not attained, right? So whenever there is non-attainment of the COs, we need to make sure we show the remedial actions. So that's the other documentation part, so that doesn't fall under this Excel sheet. So that's how you get the analysis. So here I've also shown like test 1, active learning and exam, and this is a weighted average. The system will take care of all these formulae. I mean, I've put in all the formulas, so you should be able to just look into this table. All that you need to do is fill up these weightages and marks and fill up these individual marks, and then you get all this table by itself. All right, so good luck everyone who's doing OBE. And yeah, I mean, if you have any queries or if you have any suggestions or if there are any corrections in this template, feel free to either talk to me or you can talk to Professor Kiran. He should also be able to help you out. All right, thank you so much.